We will begin in Tuscaloosa, where it has been confirmed that we will see Ryan Grubb back with Alabama. Now, he never got to coach a game as offensive coordinator, though he did spend a couple weeks as the Crimson Tide's offensive coordinator under Kalen DeBoer. Of course, a longtime partner of Kalen DeBoer at multiple stops. Now, he comes in, and as of right now, Nick Sheridan, who was the offensive coordinator, still on staff. So, we still got to shake things out exactly. But given Ryan Grubb's role on Kalen DeBoer's staff at previous stops, I'm going to call him the offensive coordinator because his mama calls him the offensive coordinator. So as Grubb comes in and takes over, Danny, what are you keeping your eye on next in terms of what this can mean for Alabama's offense in the post-Jalen Milroe era?
I think this should be good news for Alabama. I think they should be excited about it. Alabama fans. I know it was something that almost happened a year ago when Kalen DeBoer was originally there, and then this opportunity opened up where I completely made sense. He wanted to stay in Seattle, didn't have to move his family. Now that the opportunity's back again, this is a pairing that's worked really well with Kalen DeBoer. And you asked, you kind of referenced Nick Sheridan there. Nick Sheridan, I think, has always been used to being underneath Ryan Grubb, right, when they've been on the same staff. So I don't think there's anything that Nick Sheridan would catch him by surprise, that he's upset or that he leaves. I think he's probably still on staff. And now I'm fascinated to see what they're going to do at QB. But I think overall, this is a good move. The Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb pairing has been really, really solid everywhere they've been.
Yeah, I don't know what the roles are going to be, but I don't think you could look at this as a bad thing in any way. Just getting all those guys back together. They've had some, like Danny said, they've had some decent amount of success together doing it.
I mean, I looked, Jeremy Bernard could have gone pro. I don't think he would have been a high pick, but he certainly could have gone pro. He decided to come back. You get year 2 of Ryan Williams. I think you got 3 of 5 back. The best I can look at this depth chart, all on the offensive line. I am fairly confident that Alabama's going to have good quarterback play this year. Not great, but good, because you have 3 options who you elected, and you wanted to keep Ty Simpson and did. Okay.
Right.
You brought in Austin Mack because you liked him. And you also have 5-star Keelan Russell, who's really pretty damn good, guys. So, between those 3, that I think the winner of that, 3-way competition is likely to be pretty good. Offensive line should be good. It's going to be a different looking offense because DeBoer likes to run the quarterback based on his history, although not the very recent history at Washington. But without Jalen Milroe's legs, I mean, Milroe was kind of the best athlete on the offense, or one of them. I mean, him with the ball in his hands plus an extra blocker was their best run game for most of the year, right? Defensively, they could be decent again. Like it's not crazy to think that Bama could be really good this year. They still have a lot of talent on that team, and I don't think DeBoer's forgotten how to coach.
Well, Alabama was good.
Yeah,
they weren't.
They were just they were more inconsistent than they were under Nick.
Correct. But they were good.
They were a normal-ass good team instead of being the juggernaut that everybody was used to.
Yes.
So I'm glad you brought up the Keelan Russell thing because, Austin Mack was initially recruited to Washington by an offensive staff that Kalen DeBoer, Ryan Grubb. Ryan Grubb comes in. He was he was in charge of the quarterbacks at Washington. He was in charge of the quarterbacks at Fresno State. At Sioux Falls, he was in charge of the quarterbacks. Is this like they're going to go and let them compete? But doesn't this, if you were trying to handicap this, make you think that there's a slightly better chance than there was 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago that Austin Mack might have a good shot at being able to step in and be the quarterback here? Again, he's got to go do it against Ty Simpson, who's always had the pieces to be able to go out there and be successful. And then I love that you brought up Keelan Russell because I had not entertained the idea that as a true freshman, he would come in and win that job. But if that's more of a factor than I should be taken note of, then that is another storyline for us to watch for Alabama spring practice.
I mean, he certainly has played on a loaded high school team. So, but Bama's pretty loaded too. Not quite as loaded relative to competition as maybe his high school team was, but I think he's going to be in the conversation.
Interesting. What is this like? We wait and see how they battle it out. Read the tea leaves. Read the practice reports.
This could be a post-spring, some movement here in the transfer portal, and then somebody maybe gets a good player out of this.
Just like we saw with Jalen Milroe's first spring.
Yeah.
Remember they brought in Ty Buckner from Notre Dame because they weren't happy with it. right? So I think we'll get some indicators of how things are going with the way in a few different spots, at the post-spring portal.
Like we could see someone leave after spring from this room, and maybe even a +1 also, if things shake free in the transfer portal.
Like defensively, they don't lose that much. It really matters, honestly. I mean, Tim Smith, okay,
Otis,
you lose
Jaheim Otis,
but he didn't play much.
I know. I mean,
no, but I mean, you're right. Like now, you lose Jahad Campbell, you lose Robinson. Like that is fairly big at linebacker. I think Deontay Lawson comes back healthy, which would be nice. DB wise, you lose Malachi Moore, you lose Devontae Smith. That was a very young room.
Yeah.
And is probably going to be better just by like positive regression to the mean. So, I mean, I think there's a lot to like from this team, most likely. Got to get offensive line figured out, but